shouldery things. So the stuff I'm going to show is kind of in addition to stuff you already know. Like you already know things to do with pec major and pec minor. You already know things to do with SCM and scalenes. So we're not going to show that, but that's also things you can work on the anterior shoulder. Okay, are we recording? I think we're recording. Great. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is undrape to the axilla. And then first thing I'm going to show is called thoracic inlet release. So we know the thoracic outlet. This is the thoracic inlet. Things to know about this area: there's a horizontal band of fascia that we're going to be working with. But this is less like a single structure and more like an area that we're going to be working on. So my hand position, I'm going to have my upstairs hand underneath Coral's back, and my fingers are going to be pointing towards their feet, and my hand's going to be right between the scapula. So to get there, I'm going to use my other hand, palm down, to create a little channel. My hands are cold. I'm very sorry. And then my other hand can slide right in. Find that spot. Yeah. And I'm going to be just a little above their shoulder. My other hand is going to come right under the clavicle, and my pointer finger is going to be on the clavicle. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press down with my shoulder and my elbow into the table so my hand lifts up into the tissue. And then my top hand is going to press down, and my hands are going to compress towards each other until it feels like they're holding on to the same thing, until I feel like there's a connection between my hands. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a like tissue excursion. And I'm going to shift my top hand downwards, kind of taking the clavicle with me as much as I can, and shift the tissue upwards. I'm going to feel, where does the tissue move? Where does it not like to move? And then I can make decisions about which way I'm going to work. So why don't I just move my hand inferiorly? So my top hand is going to be shifting inferior, while my bottom hand, I'm holding onto the same tissue. I'm not sliding across the skin, but I am shifting my hand headward a little bit. So my hands are kind of shearing against each other. So I'm going in this direction for a while. I'm not going to go as long as I would. This would maybe be like 1 minute to 2 minutes in one direction. And I'm going to shift the other direction. So I'm really going to press into my elbow so my hand is off the table in the tissue. And now my hands are shearing against each other the other way. So my hand that's on the table is kind of gliding, shifting towards their feet. My top hand is shifting towards their head. And I would stay in one direction for a minute or two. And as the tissue releases, I'm going to take up a little more slack. I'm noticing that my fingers are kind of starting to go onto their throat, and that would be uncomfortable. So I'm just going to move my hand down and pick up more of the slack. Come out. So my hands are like this, shearing against each other. Okay. Next thing is working with ribs. A lot of times there's a lot of compression in the anterior ribs, which then creates a lot of like internally rotated shoulders, hyperkyphosis. All of that is like related to each other. So I'm going to undrape your arm. Do I need to? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just going to do it. So one hand is going to come to the upper ribs. I'm going to kind of hook my thumb around their pec here. Then my other hand is going to come to lower ribs. You're just going to be conscious of breast tissue. Like there are areas of the chest that I just won't touch. I'm going to sink my hands down through superficial fascia until I know that I'm on ribs and I'm engaged with the ribs, not just on top of them. And then I'm going to widen my hands apart and kind of stretch the ribs apart like I'm like pulling an accordion. And again, we'll stay with this for like a minute or so. But I won't just sit here for a minute, but you can. All right. Next thing, working with breath. So this is going to work diaphragm, intercostals. John, do you have hands above and below like this? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you can do this on anterior ribs and posterior ribs. So Coral, I'm going to have you take a deep breath in and out. And as they exhale, I'm going to shift the ribs downwards. And we'll keep doing that. We'll do 2 more breaths just like that. And I'm going to give a little bit of resistance to your breath. And exhale. And we'll do 1 more deep breath in. And giving just a little bit of resistance as they breathe in. And with their exhale, shifting the ribs down. And now I'm going to have you take a deep breath in and push my hands away with your breath. Yeah. And then exhale. And then slowly take your hands away. Yeah. Next thing, we're going to talk about just a little bit of like anterior deltoid and bicep, which you already know some things to do with. And I'm going to do it on this side, but maybe I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay. So bending the elbow, bringing it onto your client's stomach or chest is going to shorten the front of the shoulder. So we can get, I'm going to take my stool actually. So here we have anterior deltoid. One thing I can do is kind of take the whole deltoid in my hands, and I might try to like shift it away from the bone. And I'm noticing that anterior deltoid is like pretty flat. It does not want to come with me. It doesn't feel as like juicy as the rest of the muscle. So I might come just to this part of deltoid. I might try to work the edges of it. That is a sound. I could do a little petrissage, all of that. Yeah, here I'm going to the insertion and just frictions up. I'm bracing my fingers and my thumb together as I'm gliding up. Get a little force behind my stroke. Yeah, that's what I want to do with my hands. And I don't have emollient, so I'm not gliding over the skin, but I'm stretching the tissue and letting it move me up toward the clavicle. This hand is just bracing the brachium. Okay. You know some things to do for bicep. So have fun with that. Kind of similar to what John showed with the posterior shoulder. It's coming into the glenohumeral joint, and I can do little scrubbies. So, oh, there's, okay. No, that's like spine of scapula. So I'm going to come just a little inferior to that. And I'm going to do little like circular scrubbies right in the joint there. Coming all the way around. Cool. The tissue just feels like a little bit denser here, so I'm just hanging out, doing more of like a press and hold and wait.
Yeah, that's the only place that I've felt pain so far.
Okay. Yeah.
Right
like,
denseness.
yeah, like tender,
just
uncomfortable. Okay. Yeah, great. Okay. I won't demo this on this shoulder because you've dislocated, but I will talk them through some traction. So if you're going to traction the shoulder, you would take the arm kind of fully, that's not extended, but like down by their sides, elbow is extended. And then I like to have the arm in kind of a handshake position. I'm going to have one hand on the end of the radius, one hand on the end of the ulna, and then give a little bit of traction. So I'm feeling, can I like gently pull the bones of the forearm away from the humerus, and then can I pull the humerus away from the scapula? And I'm not actually doing that to Coral's arm because I have dislocated the shoulder, so I'm not gonna do that, but that is something that you could do to kind of decompress a shoulder joint. Yeah, that feels good.